Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath, and I am so happy to share some energy with you. Guys, I don't know if you saw, but I was just at the Caribbean Day Festival, and that was a hoot and nanny. And I've got clients coming up here shortly, so I'm going to go get ready for that. I may make some more videos for you guys as well. This one eye has been watering today, and it's about to rain, so we're going to have a little bit of a. Oh, I'm like, did I put that in park? Yes, I did. It's a quick video. I was live. I really actually want your opinions this time. I know I am good for talking and talking and talking, but I am so curious about what you think about this topic, about this subject. And it is, why do they fall for it? I was counseling someone earlier today who was dealing with a masculine who had walked away. Same story, different day, different country, different area code. It just goes on and on and on in the worst way. And I remember thinking about it when it happened to me. I thought, why did they fall for it? How could someone that wasn't actually in the vibration of a good connection cause you to step away from what was a good connection? And if you're here, I see you, someone just popped in and they popped out. If you do pop in, I really want to hear what you think about this. And even if you don't catch it live and you only catch it on the playback, please comment and let me know what you think. Well, I have some theories about this. I think that what happens is it's an incredible distraction. I think everybody wants to be wanted. I think it's the theory of the prom king is what me and my bestie kind of call it. And what I mean by that is, like, it's nice to be wanted by someone that you find really attractive and all that stuff. But why do our masculines fall for that? And they could be for a lot of reasons. Some people are attention whores. Some people have sex addictions. There are a myriad of reasons that people step out. But one of the things that is so prevalent and I see happen time and time again is that the person will step out, and then the person that they step out with is mimicking you, divine feminine, if you're watching. They're mimicking you. They want to be you. They're interested in you. They're more obsessed with you than the person that they get with, which is maybe your partner. Because we all as women observe the good effects of thank you for the Beyonce fan. The good effects of a partnership on somebody. So that's something that I really want you guys to understand, is that your energy makes the person that ends up getting maybe out of the relationship or leaves it more attractive to that person. It's your energy is what makes it attractive. And that's why I'm always like, divest, divest, divest. I knew I was privy to it differently because of the weird dynamics that were involved in my connection. But the person that I knew was telling me all the time how obsessed and how jealous and how whatever. Now, she was doing it for multiple reasons. She wanted to triangulate me. She wanted me to feel a certain way. It also bothered her, I think, subconsciously, because she was like, why is she so focused on you when I'm magic and I'm having sex with her and I'm doing all the things that you'll never do? You won't even do them with me. So why are you doing them with them? Now, again, you guys know my situation's a little bit different than a lot of you guys in the traditional sense, but it still has a lot of the same undertones and overtones. And I thought about that and I thought, well, ladies, we as divine feminines definitely raise the vibration for people. We get people to look at things in different ways. And even for that person that was obsessed with your person because they were obsessed with you, we raise the vibration for them too. The thing that comes to mind is Nicole. Is it Kessinger? Nicole. I'm thinking of Chris Watts and Nicole, whoever his third party was. And oh, also, guys, I'm going to make a video here coming up about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. If Amber Heard is not his karmic, I don't know what. When I hear she literally shit the bed, just for a fact, like, talk about a psycho. Talk about a psychopath, truly, and someone who, like, down to mimicking his jewelry and his hair and his mannerisms. She put on glasses like the next day in court after he did it exactly the same way, hair pulled back, rings on the same finger. She's a freaking sociopath. And I knew it years ago. I was like, nah, Johnny, it may be a little off, and he may be an old guy who has some habits and whatever, and he's a creative, totally, but he is not abusive. And that doesn't mean that he didn't have moments, but I gotta tell you something. When you know, and when you see a narcissist, you know a narcissist, and you know the gaslighting. And I was like, this bitch is crazy. Anyway, that's another another conversation for another day. But one of the things that I want you guys to know regarding the masculine and all of that, why do they fall for it? I think they fall for it because they're bored. I think they fall for it because they have not been properly juicily validated. I think they fall for it, and that doesn't mean you didn't validate them. I think that they are just craving more. I mean, why does anybody have an affair? You're craving more, right? So that's one of the things that I think about when I'm looking at all my clients, and I'm looking at what I've been through, and I'm looking at what I've needed or outsourced in my life previously in other relationships. Like, what wasn't there for me? What wasn't working for me? And yeah, it's an interesting thing. So anyway, it was just a quick thought because I'm getting ready for more clients, and I had a few that left me emails that were like, we're going to talk about this specifically. And I started thinking, like, why do they leave and then only miss you anyway? It's just a funny thing. Oh, that's the other part. For people that are watching and that are new to this journey, they will leave you and then miss you so deeply. But because they rejected you, most of them that aren't actual sociopaths will know they can't come back. And they might try to, do a temperature check, do an apology tour, or any of that stuff, but they'll know that they can't come back. Sorry guys, my strap is driving me crazy. They'll know that they can't come back, right? But they'll try to some degree to come back. And they'll know that you're not having it, but you're not with the shits, as I like to say. But they will warn you and think about you anyway. And I don't know that from my experience per se. I know it from listening and talking to so many of you guys out there, that these guys end up in total disrepair, totally taken off their course regarding whatever relationship of craziness they chose, totally wishing they could come back home. But they usually are so horrible in the exit that home is not a place they can be. And that's something in my regard anyway that did happen to me. The comeback part did not, but the 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 discard for dealing with narcissists did. And it was so inhumane and so unwarranted, considering the love you give, right? We all can think about the way we're devoted. This weekend, as I've been working and pulling cards, Krishna has come up a lot. Krishna is a god of devotion. And it's come up a lot, Krishna. And I've been thinking about that and how we have been devoted to partners and devoted to partnerships, and maybe not gotten exactly what we deserved from it, and how that needs to be turned around, how it has to be different in order for us to feel validated. The promise I want to make for you, Divine Feminine, is that when you walk away and when you actually divest, what you will get is exactly what you deserve, and exactly what you invested anyway. Someone who knows your worth. It is the universe's way of balancing things out. They say turnabout is fair play. It is an inevitable balancing. A bush is overgrown. What does that mean? Sorry, guys. Sometimes you get a little symbolism in a reading, and this bush that is usually very well kept is overgrown in front of me. And yeah, this is very interesting to me. What's overgrown? What's not taken care of? This is symbolic to me of the relationship. Someone was overwatering something. Something got out of control. Divine Feminine, this is about us and how much we give. And something was overgrown. In order for a partnership to exist, someone must come in and prune something. Someone's grown out their hair too, is what I'm hearing. Oh my God. Anyway, I'm not even getting into that. So this is something about hair. Yep. I just had an audible confirmation. I don't know if you guys heard that. Yeah, something about hair is going on here. Anyway, I digress. That's what I wanted to say to you guys today. There was something else that I was thinking about when I was out today regarding coupleship, and the thing when things go in a very not the way you think they're going to go, in a very different way. Someone hid something from you. Someone watching, someone hid something from you. They didn't want you to see what was going on behind closed doors and curtains, actually. Okay? That's a quick message for somebody watching. Yeah. It's a little disturbing, too. I'm looking at something that's very suburban and very well cared for and manicured, and then there's this one piece that looks like a scary movie. There's this one piece that doesn't fit. And what I'm seeing about it, it reminds me of Blair Witch. Somebody watching didn't know their person at all. God's protection. Really, rejection is God's protection. My stomach is going, just a lot of weird stuff happening. Yeah. It would have turned your stomach to know the truth of all the things that scuttled beneath. Ooh, it's creepy. I don't even want to look at it. It's really bothering me. Um, God, how have I not noticed this before? Okay, anyway, I digress. That's a message for somebody here, though. I don't know that it's for me per se, but it's for somebody anyway. What the last thing that I'm going to say here before I go? Yep, I got a few more minutes. Back to the masculine and why they leave. I don't think that we came up with an answer for that. Oh, they leave because they get off track. I was really disgusted at how easily swayed somebody was, but then I realized like they must have malice in their heart for me anyway, because there is no one that could dissuade me from my life, my husband, my best friends. No one could like take me off track from them. No one could say anything about them. Like if I love them, I love them. If you don't like them, that's fine. I'm still gonna be friends with them. I'm still gonna have my own friendship and my own connection and whatever the case may be. So no one could dissuade me from that. So there's a weakness. And in the twin flame journey, there will always be someone who is weak and someone who runs. But I think it's so cliche and it's not fun. And it's not that everything gets to be fun, but it's that you have to understand if someone is gonna always run. And so a lot of you guys are willing your twin flame back, like, oh, bring him back, bring him back, bring him back, Jesus, just bring him back two more times, one more time. For what? Because how many times do you need your heart broken by the same person over and over and over and over again? Not many of us can withstand that. And that's what I'm here to tell you is like, if they run, let them run. If they sabotage and they do it like in a really crazy way, let them sabotage. I would even go as far as to let them think that they're winning. That's what I did. I totally was like, you know what? Yes, this is my fault. You are correct. I didn't sabotage. I sabotaged this. You were an innocent. You did nothing undercover. You were not as creepy as that bush that I'm looking at over there. And when they were like, how can we fix this? Are we broken forever? I was like, didn't you want us to be broken forever? Isn't that what you actively did on a regular daily basis for years? Seems like we're broken forever then. And sometimes you have to just release game for you to play than for you to be like clawing and like, oh, narcissists love when you're like, oh, don't leave me, girl, please stay by my side. They love when you want to go for the crazy ride on the roller coaster. I'm thinking of Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne. They love when you want to be on the crazy train with them. Do you want to be on the crazy train with them? Is that the way you want to spend your life? Is that the way? Sorry. Looking behind you? No coincidence. Do you want to spend your life looking behind you? No, you don't. You want to spend your life looking in front of you. The last message here is that you get something else. Okay? So when someone divests from you, or you divest from them for your sanity, you'll get someone that really matches you. And that will be a helpmate in every way. I just got the sweetest message just a few seconds ago. And it's a quote about how women are magic, and when a woman enters a room they're magic, and it was from a bestie, and she was like, you bring magic to every room you're in. For no reason did she send that to me, just because she loves me. In the relationship dynamic that I was going through, it was someone I was calling in a good friend, because I'd been that penny and it had always been taken for granted to some degree, and God sent me in someone even better than me, I think. Okay, someone who is so good to me for no reason every day, and consistently she shows up, and there are no games to play, there are good boundaries, there is love, there is travel, there's everything that I wanted, all the above. What did you write on your list that wasn't given to you? And I spent a lot of time investing into someone who would never do those things. And does that mean that I was supposed to stay there forever and just get my feelings hurt? Hey, Choco Choc! Hey, my sweetie. How is the weather in South Africa today, sir? And yeah, I'm talking about why masculines walk away. If you have any insight on why men are wild as a Taliban or masculine energy can be wild as a Taliban, please do drop a line and let us know. I'm still here wanting to grow. I'm waiting to evolve from a male's perspective on why they drop the ball so horribly. I'm talking about specifically when they leave their twin flame or their person or their soulmate, whatever you want to call it, and they go off with someone who is karmic, maybe not as attractive, not as intelligent, not as actively busy with business or money. It's an interesting thing. West Africa. Oh, West Africa. Sorry, it's cool here. Awesome, awesome to know. Sorry, I don't know why I always thought South, but good correction on West. So I don't know why they do it. I don't really know. But here's the thing. I wish all of you guys could see some of these women that people triangulate you with. I was so fortunate to get to actually tap into the energy of the person to realize that it was just more hilarious than it was a threat. She was threatened by me for some crazy reason. Choc says, funny you should say that. I actually know someone this happened to. Hey, please share your story. That's what we're here to do, is evolve together. It's not just a catchphrase. I meant it when my angels gave it to me. But yeah, I don't know why people do that. It's crazy to me because 90% of the time I've counseled some of the men that have left their women and they're like begging me on how to get them back. But see, they don't realize that when a woman closes down her energy to a guy, it's closed. I was working with a guy who was super, super sexy and he broke his woman's heart. And my angels showed me like a rock quarry, like they were taking the rocks out and that there was nothing left to mine out of the rock quarry, which was her heart. And I said to him, like, what did you do? And I worked with him for a year. I worked on rehabbing the relationship. I watch him show up and call me today. That's funny. Choc says, I feel like men who are not evolved get bored with the stable and the predictable. That is a great, great answer for that, Choc. Choc just hit it out of the park. I know in my case specifically, the masculine energy was not evolved. She was immature. It was a she for me, but it was an immature energy. And she was like, stability, love, good food that doesn't have bodily fluids in it. That's boring. Let's go for something different. Now I get it. It was destined to happen because also what happens in that a lot of women struggle with, Choc says then they get enticed by something wild. Yeah. But here's the thing. We all had our wildness at the beginning, right? Like good sex, wildness, all that. But that's the operative word, beginning. Yeah. Hey, beautiful. Hey, sunflower eyes. We're talking about why masculines stray away, go to trash, and then are like, man, I wish I could come back. If you have any insight, sunflower eyes, love to hear it. Go to basura, and then they're like, oh, I miss it over there. I want to come back and recycle. I want to get out of the compost heap. And it's so funny to me because they trash beautiful. I mean, I wish you guys could see. I work with executives, I work with lawyers, I work with heads of companies, I work with entrepreneurs, I work with people that work at Walmart, I work with everybody. And there is never a class or a level that there is not some guy that is like, you know what, you're a great woman, but I could do worse, way worse. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to go beneath you. How low can you go? How low can you go? It's that. And it's just appalling to me. So when guys are working with me, back to that story, I was working with this guy and he was like, I want my wife back. Like he tried to move back in the house with her and all of this stuff. And she was just shutting him down left and right. And I'm going to check your message here shortly. He was just shutting her down left and right. She was shutting him down. And he was like, I'm not going to get out of the fight. I'm not going to get out of it. And I'm like, why weren't you fighting for her the first time? Why did it take her having to shut you down this way for you to realize you actually want to stay? He's still trying to rehab it to this day. It's been 2 years that I work with him. I mean, I got it back in the house. But man, she has been punishing the shit out of him because he tried her in his own way for someone that was so not her vibration. And, I think of Betty Broderick, who went crazy and killed her husband and his mistress. There's something that flips for us. And if you're not mentally stable anyway, it could be a complete disaster and an episode of Snapped. And it can be completely, completely crazy. So you have to be so careful. Also, sexual energy, quick message. Stop sharing sexual energy with people you don't know. Empath, if you're watching, no, no, no. We don't get to be that kind of hoe. We just don't, because the sexual energy actually transfers. There have been lots of times in my life where I wanted to have a quick fix of something I like. You guys know I'm bisexual. I am married to a husband. But when we were dating, and he was very cool and permissible with whoever I was with, regarding women, I was very careful about who my fix was from, because I knew the energy transfers would come through and they would bleed through. If you're dealing with someone who's toxic, you're going to pick up that energy. You now become toxic. You now are starting to behave badly. You're now sabotaging your life. You're now not doing well. It's just inevitable. We become like the people we spend time around. Choc said something here. Boom, boom, boom. Shake the room. I literally know someone who left an 8-year relationship, married someone he barely knew. The first girlfriend was so loyal and loving, and everyone loved her. He left her for someone who was wild. Wild. Choc said that bitch was wilding out. She was wilding. The marriage didn't last 6 months. Why? Choc, I wish I could talk to you all day about it. Why do people do this shenanigans? Why do they do it? Choc said she was wild. I love that so much. For those of you, that's a colloquial turn of phrase, and it means behaving incredibly badly. There is a show by Nick Cannon, who was once married to Mariah Carey, and it's called Wiling Out, and it is about being funny and making jokes. But literally, it sounds like that woman made a joke out of your friend, or he made a joke out of an 8-year relationship. Stability and loyalty, number 8 associated with Leo, also associated with August. But man, why do people walk away from the thing that they can't trust for like the anything? And the thing about it is so, I know so many women that are so willing to infuse sexiness into their relationship. They're like, you want to go here, we'll do this. You want to do a date, you want to do a paint night, paint our bodies, you want to do this, you want to go see burlesque. Women and men in feminine energy and that Hawaii energy are so willing to acquiesce to their dude or their masculine energy, and they're like, we can do anything, you just got to talk to me and I've got to be included, you know. But they don't, and they go to someone who, as Choc said, is wildin', which just delights my soul. That was hilarious. Didn't last 6 months. He says, I've also noticed that men like to be treated with disdain. Come on. Now, I want you guys to know Choc is a man, okay? So this is from the mouth of a man. So my divine feminines, are you listening? Our angels are speaking through a earth angel today, Mr.Choc in West Africa, all the way from West Africa, who is saying that men like to be treated with disdain. Y'all, and I will tell you, masculine energy, similar, same. The way that I treated my masculine energy was with just the utmost love and care. Like, I treasured that person so much. There is no cross I wouldn't bear. There is no food I wouldn't cook. There is no money I wouldn't have paid to keep her. In a way, she was a very masculine energy, but to keep her, who subscribed completely to misogyny and the patriarchy as well, as much as she thought that she was progressive, she was wild and backwards. But I wouldn't have done anything. And I treated her lovely. And you know what she used to tell me? This is a masculine energy, would tell me about the feminine that they were triangulating me with, that she was a bitch, that she was mean, that she was evil, that she talked to anybody like shit. These were direct words that she would give me about the person that she, when I say I adore Mia Moore, her princess. Her princess. You know? That was her princess. Meanwhile, she had a whole queen. Yeah. But because I wasn't mean, now I am. Now I wouldn't put her out if she was on fire, and I mean that. I would. And here's the thing, I said that the other day, and I thought angels were like, Monette, can we talk about that? Because that was kind of mean. And I was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give one single fuck, because I wouldn't trust her. If she was on fire next to me, and I mean that actually, I would think that it was some kind of trick, because she's so deceitful and duplicitous. I would be like, she has on a flame retardant suit. She has somehow poured a line of gasoline invisibly to my foot that I don't see. The second I step to her, it's like one of those movies like Casino where it implodes and blows up, and then she walks away free. I literally wouldn't put her out on fire if she was on fire in front of me. I mean that from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. Would never even go near her. I would just watch her and be like, man, I hope you don't end up dead. I would never even help her or intervene, because I wouldn't trust anything about her that she wasn't there to be detrimental to me. Do you guys see those cases where people throw acid on people's faces and all? She's that kind of wicked, and she hooked up with that kind of team. She found her tribe for sure. He says, I notice that men like to be treated with disdain. Even with my partner, if I act up a little bit, he seems to enjoy it. And I'm like, why? Men, Choc, you've told no lies. Men, like, yeah, when we're sweethearts, but we're like, you're a piece of shit. You know, I mean, what does Cardi say? Men like their women toxic. You know, I don't know. There has to be some place where we can actually show up and be kind to one another and not just like wild and wiling out. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So when I don't know that what the advice is here, because if should we be mean? I don't know. Is that the advice, guys? What do you guys think? Should we be mean to our partners? Should we be assholes to them? Should we be a bitch to them? Is it overrated being sweet? Is it? I noticed with the masculine energy that she loved the mean and the evil and the deceit and the spiteful games, and it was exciting. Choc says yes, we should be mean. Well, I definitely stayed in my power now. And I will tell you, unfortunately, I have to weigh in. I learned a lot through my in-laws, because I was like kind of immersed. Balance is important, as awful as that sounds. It's true. You're right, though. As I was immersed into a sea of men, I come from my husband's from a big Catholic family. So there was like 6 or 7 brothers. And so they all were bossy to me, and they all had their predispositions and notions about how I should be as a wife. And y'all over here know I'm not conventional. I am nobody's typical wife. I'm not meant to sit home with kids, and I have nothing against it. I love their kids, actually. But what I'm not going to be is like sunned by any of the. And Choc says, I'm not saying destructive, just a bit spicy from time to time. And I hear you on that. But I let them say, why, when talk about wiling, my brother-in-laws have said wild stuff to me, have done wild things, have implied wild things to me. And a few years ago, I got past all that. I'm the only black person in the family, and I'm a big black girl, and all that stuff. I got over it. And I started cussing their ass out expeditiously. Just, hey, I started cussing them all out. Every single one of them. I was like, I don't give a freak about what color I am. I don't give a freak about how big I am. I don't give a freak about how tall I am. I don't care what you think. If you think it's abusive or not, you tried it. And you wouldn't want your daughter to be tried that way. And you wouldn't let your wife be tried that way. So why are you trying me that way? And what happened was, one by one, step by step, they all fell down to their knees with apologies. And what I mean by that is not that they were like begging, like, baby, I'm begging. It wasn't that. But they all came to me respectfully and course corrected the bullshit, because there was a lot of bullshit. And I was like, this is unacceptable. And I did let them know, Choc. I did. It was unacceptable. You know, there was one that was really sweet to me that I really valued and cared about a great deal. And I never really had any issues with him at all, thank God, knock on wood, right? But the other ones were wild. Rubber band man, wild as a Taliban. And then they would come to me, and it would be simple things like, I'd be like, could you please not post this, or could you please not do this, or whatever. And it would take me years to get a response. And then when I was like, get the then the next time at dinner, this one brother-in-law was like, do you mind if I post this picture? I was like, oh, that's all it took was for me to cuss your ass out? I don't understand the mentality of men. I was like, I was a sweetheart. I did everything but write you calligraphy letters, and you disregarded me until I told you to get your shit together, and I don't give a single fucking no, I'm not talking to you, and I don't care. It took a lot to get me there, and I hate having to go there. I don't know, anybody else chime in? I hate having to be that person, but I really feel like people underestimate me, and they're like, oh, you're a people pleaser, you're just sweet. No, you just don't know me. And it's one thing, it's so funny, over the last weekend I was with a lot of my family, and my husband shared that I have a YouTube with some of my family. They know, but they weren't paying attention. But I actually made a video with one of my brother-in-law's friends, his best friend. And so they might be paying attention now. And the thing is, they don't really know me. See, what they know is how I present, which is divine femininity. I'm a sweetheart. I'm the fabulous auntie. Yeah, that's what I specialize in. They don't know about my opinions, my intellect, my ideas. They don't understand that I've created and crafted a relationship where I get to stand here in my energy, and my husband cannot sway me. But I do respect him. You know, they don't understand that about me. They might now, and that's okay. Hey guys, if you're watching, but what I'm gonna say is I don't give a damn. I love you still, but I have to stand in who I am, just like they do. I just let them warm up differently, and I think it's interesting to see that, unfortunately, when you treat men a certain way, then there's a different kind of energy that you get in retrospect. I think about when I go back and treat the masculine energy that I was dealing with differently. The only thing that I regret about the way I handled that, because I handled it with integrity, understanding that I was cleaning out karma from past lives, and that she was creating dharma that was horrible and it was going to affect everyone, including herself and her child. I was like, you know what? Would I have cussed her out differently? Yeah, I guess I do wish that I would have cussed her out directly to her face. Like that I would have, just me and her with no one around, told her what a piece I thought she was. Because ego. Because ego. I don't have any real reason, guys. Because ego. I wish that I would have, um, oh God, I wish I would have had that opportunity, because she was disrespectful to me in my face. There's a saying, if you pitch a tent, that's where, or if you pitch a tent, that's where we're going to build the circus. And she pitched a tent to me, to my face, and was disrespectful AF, throwing stuff at me, luring me up to take care of me, and then being like, guess you have a lot of reading to do. Y'all, smugness. Oh, even my car is heated. It overheated and just shut up. I would turn it back on. It is no coincidence that happened. The smugness with which she treated me, the racist energy that she was siphoning from her trashy bitch. Oh, the way that she wished she could have got a switch. Y'all, God is so good that I had self restraint. But ego is there for all of us. That was my masculine energy, and I wish I wasn't so Hawaii with her. Because, but it was kind of interesting, because at the end of it, guys, I let me turn that car
Information
back
kit
on.
at 844-312. Let's work together.
Don't you get my thing blocked? um, so my car overheated. For any of you guys who are just chiming in, when I was talking about should I cuss my masculine out, I guess I should have cussed her out, and I guess my soul still wishes that I would have cussed her out. I will not see her or have any dealings with her again, but there are times, like, if I would have cussed her out, you know what it would have looked like, guys? Just indulge me for a minute. It would have been, those old commercials from like the mid 90s where they were advertising Bose speakers, and the guy sitting there in the chair and the Bose speakers playing, and the sound waves are like literally rippling, and like the air is like taking the clothes off of the guy, except I pictured it was for skin. The skin she was in. Like, if my words had that kind of power, they would have, if I would have been able to talk to her face to face. This is why God didn't allow it to happen. That's the velocity at which I would have like devoured her energy for the way that she treated me for years, not just for a couple of days, for years, and especially on the back of some nobody. I was appalled. That's why I don't understand it to this day. Even though God has like literally given me the best connection of my life, and I get why it had to happen and all that stuff, I'm like, why didn't y'all let me cuss her out just one time? Why didn't you just let me cuss her out? My angels were working with me. It was like I had a crisis team in my head. They wouldn't let me do anything when I say they wouldn't let you have free will. We all can do what we want to, but I was getting like minute by minute advice on how to save my life, because they're like, you're in Alabama and you'll be in somebody's jail, and that would be a hell of a story. And then when you get to jail, the girls are going to be like, what are you doing here? You don't belong. How did you get here? Monette, it's not supposed to be here. And I was like, her devil energy wanted to set me up. They were like Emmett Till. There was a lot of stuff going on. They were like, don't you let her get you. Don't let her be disrespectful. She's playing out some ancestry stuff that happened with her mother. She's playing out some stuff that happened with your father and the women in his life. Don't you get caught up. So I had to be so careful. And that's why I'm like, no, I don't feel that level of vitriol to her whatsoever at all. But in that moment, as it was all dawning on me, what was happening in the betrayal, y'all, God is good. God spared her and he spared me. Truly. He spared me. The thing about it is, when I see like those shows that go crazy where people use their vitriol and they get in their masculine energy as a retaliation to somebody that's like trying them, I don't think it should ever go that far. I just wanted to yell at her properly and tell her incredibly what a horrible person she was from top to bottom. That's really what I wanted. I didn't feel the rage that I see people have where they like get into like the yikesy part. That never was that. But oh my God. Yes, I did fantasize about yelling so loudly that it moved her clothing and it like shook her body because I was so angry. Yeah, I was angry and I was hurt and I was betrayed and it was unnecessary. It didn't have to go that way. Sometimes things are unnecessary. My husband's coming to check on me. I have a proper stalker, y'all. Get you a good old stalker. If you want one, get a Capricorn. Capricorn houses will stalk your life in the best way for the rest of it. But he's checking on me to make sure that I fall asleep down here and get carbon monoxide poisoning. Hey, if you're watching Tinsley and Hater, I'm not dead yet. Yes, y'all. Those exes will wish all kinds of crazy on you. And there are a few gauntlets that I have gone through. And I know that they have been peeping and watching like, she dead yet? Is she dead yet? Not yet, bitches. Not yet. I imagine we all go someday. Anyway, let me see what Choc had to say. Let them know. Yeah, same here. I get underestimated a lot, but I can get really fiery, and I hate getting to that stage at work. So people throw rocks and hide their hands, need a beat down. I mean, no wiser words have been said on this day. That's exactly what the masculine energy in my life did, was threw rocks and hid her hands. She was trying the ever loving life out of me, and she was like, oh, Monette's too nice and she's too pretty and she's not gonna. Okay, you think so? So she really got to know me after we disconnected, because that's when I was like, you, but she didn't expect it to be that. It's so funny. Ironically, had it happened in the way that I fantasized about with the Bose radio scenario, it would have been done. I would have got it all out. It would have been over. The fact that she and like tried to sneak away like Pink Panther shit, binning. I was like lassoed her ass back energetically, and I said, oh, sit down. We have just begun the dissertation. She hated education. She hated any level of intelligence. She had zero patience. She's a microwave society person completely. So I was like, this is perfect. This works out brilliantly for me. I will write a dissertation. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And it will go on and on and on and on and on, and it will evolve, and I'll turn it into whatever I want to. And that's specifically what I did do, because it's what I had to do in order to purge the toxicity. Some of the best albums that we have usually happen on the end of heartbreak. Mary J. Blige is renowned for that kind of energy. But Love brings really good albums too. And I'm on the other side and into that. And it's all new and magic. And I'm happy. And you move on. You do. But man, there were some good videos made because I didn't get to be as toxic as I wanted to. My angels wouldn't let me. As practitioners, we are held to a different account. Could I have cussed her ass all the way out? Could I have made her cry? Could I have reduced her to a puddle of nothing tears or sociopathic tears, whatever we had to spare? Could I have? Of course I could. But my angels were like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. I hated it. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't love when they were like, hey Monette, can you be a good human and not destroy her to her face? Let us handle that. We'll handle it with grace, because I would not have been graceful. So anyway, I got to write a book. I got to chat with you. I got to meet lots of people, probably thousands of people that I met over the last couple of years, all because she was immature and she ran and decided she did not want to actually take a real account or talk about anything, and it created incredible content. So I'm kind of grateful in a way. It worked out greatly, and I still got everything that I wanted, even better though. Even better. It's amazing when you let God work something out. That's another message here, guys. Sometimes you're like thinking what you had was so beautiful and it wasn't. When I really look back over the relationship that I had idolized with that masculine energy, I was like, she was like essentially a horrible partner, a Debbie Downer, not really good in bed, not really good with consistency regarding communication, sex, showing up from day to day. And it wasn't just with me, it was with other partners too. I used to make it just about it was just me, because when we're in a relationship, that's what we'll do. But I remember feedback from her other partner, and how she went through the same exact things I went through regarding the waning of sexual connection, the waning of communication. I was like, oh, she's just a bad person. This is not me. But I idolized it. I think it happened because it happened in my 20s. So that's it for those of you guys that might be in your 20s that are like, and I'm never gonna love again. No, you will, okay? You're gonna go on. You will have somebody else that is strong and that is wise and is patient and that gets you. You'll move on. I promise you. That 20s love will do what it do, but it's not meant to stay forever with you. Let me see what Choc has to say. Can you talk about the final thing she did to you that made you divest? Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm having to think about it. Choc, it was a series of things. Can I talk about the final thing that she did to me that made me divest? It was a series of things that made me divest. She triangulated me with a racist. That was the thing. That was the biggest thing. She triangulated me with with a racist, someone that was blonde and blue. And listen, I have nothing against blonde and blue. My best friend right now is blonde and, well, she's blonde and hazel. She's got really beautiful hazel blue eyes. But she triangulated me with someone who was racist, who wanted to be me, who was jealous of me, who actually wanted to sleep with me, ironically enough, and was fascinated, enthralled, and stalking me. She was gang stalking me through here. She was watching all my videos and then taking back pieces of information and challenging our friendship. And I know that not because just I'm psychic, Choc, but because my best friend, my masculine energy, told me. She would tell me like, oh, Lindsay, ask my every time I talk, her accent gets more and more southern. It wasn't as deeply southern as that. But Lindsay asked me why we were friends even, and I couldn't even tell her why we were friends. Meaning, like, she would do things like she would tell me, she was starting to gaslight me about her origin story. She started to tell me about how she was telling Lindsay to appease Lindsay, about how she was telling Lindsay to appease Lindsay, about how she didn't know we were friends. She didn't tell her how she came up to me on the playground at the place we worked and was like, hey girl, hey, can you get me in your life? And she didn't tell her about how when we slept together the first time, it was her that initiated it. She didn't tell her the truth of any of the stories. She told her what was convenient for her to know, because she was black, or excuse me, she was black. That's funny. She was, but well, she loved black people quietly. What really made her divest is her racism. That's the truth, Choc. I could say a few different things, and I may still continue. Thank you for allowing me the platform, but it was the fact that I didn't realize how racist she was until, so when you get around some energy, it will bring out whatever you are. And I always had taught her, you'll find your tribe someday, because I loved her dearly and I wanted her to be happy and have real love in her life. And then when I realized that she did find her tribe, and her tribe was a lot of bit racist and was really indignant at, like, why do you like this big black girl? Like, what makes her better than me? Well, because I'm better in every way, period, sis. Because you're not ambitious, because, I mean, and for real reasons. It had nothing to do with the color of our skin. That's why I was appalled. I was like, you're making this about our skin? Because truly, can we just do the resume? Would you like to compare our resumes, ma'am? And I don't mean actually work history. I just mean humanity history. Let's compare resumes. You are not me and I am not you. And that's okay, boo. Okay, you're the best box top cutter in Jameson. But I was not feeling like I needed to be in competition. And I was appalled that my best friend decided that she wanted to put me in competition with someone and then throw it in my face. What she wanted me to do was hurt. She was being purposely cruel. And that's why, because see, I'm very tolerant and I teach a lot of love therapy and sex therapy. So falling in love with someone, having great sex with someone younger than you and all that stuff, I was totally into that for her. I wanted her to have that. I respected it. I taught her a lot about it, okay, in every way. So I was like, yeah, girl, go play. But she was lying to me, and she was trying to use me as bait to get this other person jealous, and the other person was also kicking up dust, and I didn't respect it because I'm a Leo, and I'm a Taurus moon, so my loyalty is like fixed. I am such a loyal person. Like, if I love you, I'll love you forever. Choc, if you show up in 20 years and I haven't seen you in 20 years and I'm on a live and you show up and be like, Choc from West Africa, like, I never forget a friend, energetically, parasocially, or whatever. And so no man left behind. Very make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold energy, is what I have. So when I saw her very home wrecker, low vibration Sagittarius energy, they are known as the home wreckers in the zodiac. Knight of Wands would be, if you read tarot, taking their wand everywhere, don't care, have no self-restraint. I didn't care about that. If you're my friend and you want to sleep with the whole world, do that. But don't you dare, absolutely not, think that I'm going to have loyalty to you when you've had none for me. When she started telling me about how she would tell the girl at work that kept asking her about why we were friends and how we became friends because she couldn't fathom it because she was racist, and she was telling that to me, I was like, oh, what drugs are you on? You know, she would do things specifically that were so sabotaging. And instead of just being like, I want this kind of relationship with you, all the grown-up shit that she could have had she had done it, but instead she spun it. And that was why I divested, because I was like, oh, this is gross. You want me not only to be jealous, but you don't respect the contribution that I've given to your life as a solid friend and an emotional wife. And I was embarrassed for her, and she was embarrassing me. It was humiliating. And guys, can I tell you, it was truly Lindsay that, you know, sometimes the devils that we think are in our life are really angels in disguise. Lindsay, are you watching, baby? You are an angel. You're the best top cutter angel that side of Jamison. Lindsay was an angel for me because she showed me who my friend wasn't. I thought my friend had integrity. I thought she really valued our relationship. She used it to make other people jealous, but she wasn't really in it. She wasn't really invested. She didn't do any of the work. She wasn't emotionally anything. And what Lindsay did was she challenged it, and it was perfect because it crumbled immediately. And that's what happens. Message, empath, divine feminine. When you do all the work for somebody, when the moment of truth comes, when the relationship gets tested, they will let it just crumble to shit. And that's exactly what she did. But specifically, can I tell you the moment? It took me a minute to get there. I was at her house. She had kind of lured me up there. She worked in a medical facility. I needed a specific treatment that her doctor's office specialized in. And she had asked me to come up months before and been talking about it for years. But then she was like, I want you to come up. Nothing's going to make me happier than knowing that I can help heal and take care of my best friend now. And understanding she's a covert narcissist. What she was doing was using me for supply in the office to be able to go and talk to people when she didn't want to work and be like, my best friend's having this issue and what do you think I should do about it? Like, she used to use her kid for like pain porn, you know, very kind of Munchausen by proxy bullshit. Like, what do you think I should do about this? And all of that because she needed attention. Both of those crazy bitches did. So I was up there in this very vulnerable state, and my angels didn't want me around her, so they kept like intercepting my transportation, which is so unlike me. If anybody knows me in my life, I always have a vehicle. I never go anywhere without my vehicle. I hate not being in my vehicle. So it was so weird to me that I didn't have a vehicle, but they were showing me later, they were like, we didn't want you around her. We kept intercepting it. You kept finding a way to be around her. We didn't want you to get your feelings hurt. We didn't want you to see her spun out, drugged out. We didn't want her to treat you the way she did, but you wanted it. Like, sometimes we will not listen, and trust me, as much as I listen now immediately, but as much as I do listen, sometimes I don't. I'm just like you guys. You know, like, my ego's there too. It was my best friend, and I was going to try to save her and like help her and pull her out of the trenches. Well, she was the trenches. She was the Mariana Trench. She was the fire. She was the tornado. She was the Tasmanian devil. So I went up there. And it's so funny, I have a guy friend who was like, you know that they're scissoring already. It was so funny. Like, he was letting me know, like, oh, like way before it ever happened. It was funny. He was like, I don't, because I was like, I just have trepidation. And he was like, girl, I love him so much for that. He's a straight guy friend. He's not gay, but he hit it out of the park. He gave me such good advice, and he wasn't wrong. But anyway, so I went up there, and Lindsay worked with her, and she was in the background, and that was it. That very second, what she did was she allowed Lindsay to weigh in the conversation. Now, whenever I was on the phone, I had noticed it, but I didn't pay too much attention. Lindsay was very threatened by me, so she would always want me to know that she was around. Lindsay didn't like knowing that she was on the phone with me, and she knew because I have a hearing disorder, and Lindsay used to make fun of it. And my friend, who was such a great friend, would tell me about it. Lindsay says that you might need a hearing. Why the fuck are you telling me that, you fucking trifling bitch? I mean, you know, that part. So why would your friend, who knows that about you, my friend knew that I had a hearing disorder, but why was she telling me that her friend that's racist at work was telling her? You see what I mean? Why would I want to be friends with someone that was trifling like that? It was so mean. And I was like, wow, so I'm going to be bullied via Lindsay? That was one thing for you to bring the bully to me. But then Lindsay, when she was in the background, would flirt with her and be like, I'm going to punch you. No, I'm going to punch you. No, I'm going to punch you. Well, I was at her house. She was texting me because it's hard to juggle too. And she was like, God, I wish I was home playing with you. And I don't mean like sexually, just meaning like we would say play, like hang out, like have a fun day. But she was like, I wish I was home playing with you and, whatever. And I was like, well, what do you want for dinner, sweetie? Like I was going to cook dinner and all that stuff. And I did. And I was just texting with her and she was like, God, I just want to get out of work right now. I'm so bored. Da, da, da. She was just playing reindeer games because she wanted my attention. Meanwhile, she probably had her hand in that girl's vagina as she, like one hand in her vagina, one hand on the phone texting me, right? Well, Lindsay didn't like that I was there. She was very threatened that I was in town. And so she said something while she got like right real close to the phone and said something. And I heard her and I hung up the phone, not with the effect of the 80s like I would have liked, right? Where you like slam a phone down. It was more like I just hung up my little cell phone and that was it. I had like planned a trip to Italy, to Rome, with her as a graduation present for her son, not for him. we planned to go for ourselves. And yeah, I wrote that in my book, a little poem about that. Like I knew we'd never see Rome. Yeah, and that I'd also never go home. So that was the moment that I divested. It was actually Lindsay. There was a lot of things that she did. She allowed her, because this is how I interpreted it. It's the etiquette of the guma. The guma is considered like the other woman in Italian families when there's another woman, right? You guys have heard it if you watch any kind of like movies like Casino or whatever. The guma is frequently talked about, the Godfather. The guma is known about, Goodfellas specifically. But the Guma knows how to keep her mouth shut. And I know because I've been one in other iterations in my life in my 20s. I was someone's Guma. So I totally know the position of respect. Lindsay was disrespectful as fuck. And the issue for me specifically was that my person who loved me so much, who actually was jealous of me and was racist too, and was just waiting for someone to meet up with you, Lindsay, she let Lindsay talk to me that way. She let Lindsay treat me that way. There is no way in any planet at all that a Guma could be weighing in and not get their ass kicked. And I don't mean, hold on one second, guys. Sorry, guys. That a Guma could weigh in and not get, let me see, did I connect this right? Hold on, guys. Okay, I think it's charging. That a Guma could weigh in and not get their ass kicked. There is no planet that could happen. She wanted that reaction, either because the sex was so good, either because she loved the attention, she was an attention whore. I don't know what her motivation was, and she thought it was fun, maybe just one more cruel thing to hurt me deeply, but that was the final straw. It was Lindsay. She'll never know that. It's nothing I would have ever talked to her about. No, I didn't talk to her about it at all. But I canceled the trip that second. I hung up the phone. I called my agent. I canceled the trip. I never even told my friend that I booked it. The night before, we were dancing in the room. And I had planned it like 2 months before. And she was like holding my hands and we were jumping in and down. And she was like, I can't wait for us to go to Rome. She didn't know that I really planned it for her. But I did, because that's the kind of bitch I am. That's the kind of friend I am. That's the kind of emotional wife I am. That's the kind of lover I am, period. And so when I heard Lindsay in the background, I thought, you allow this bitch to disrespect me, this racist bitch to disrespect me, who's been in your life for 20 years, who has helped you raise your kids when you would always get distracted with where your regime wanted to travel and which next bitch you were trying to scoop, hunt, or catch, and you would literally neglect your kid. I was livid. There was a lot of stuff going on with her kid too that added to the fuel of me hating her. It wasn't like, oh, I'm disappointed in you. It was like, I despise you. How dare you ever even come around me energetically? How dare you have an opinion about your mother and the way that she was with you when she was 10 million times better than you will ever be? Because I watched what you did twice, not once. Once I could give a pass to in your 20s, but this time, bitch, you were in your 40s or your late 30s. You knew better, and you still chose to neglect your son for a bitch that doesn't matter. Couldn't excuse it. It wasn't, she's so selfish that she thought it was just about her and her boobs and her vagina. And I was like, man, I don't give a damn about that. Clearly, I wasn't touching it. It was because I was watching her be a bad parent and a bad friend. Thank you for not being a friend. Travel down the road, never again. Your heart was never true. You were a hater and a Judas too. That's a song I could sing for her. But the disrespect from when she let Lindsay bark at me through the phone And Lindsay didn't say anything mean to me. She just wanted me to know she was there. And the fact that she didn't sun her and put her in her place, I was like, you can't be around me. As a Leo, I'm all about the hierarchy and also seniority. I'm about people that have put in their time in their position. So I was disgusted. Disappointed is not even a word. I was disgusted with the way that she let Lindsay play me. Like she let Lindsay have a voice to even with her weak ass. Because my friend postured that she was very brave and very like powerful and like mafioso. No, she was being run and ragged and being strung right along by the nose, which I kind of loved at the end of it. I was like, run, run, Lindsay, run. I was like, excellent. I was rooting for Lindsay the whole time. I was like, win, win, drag her. It was so funny for me. The last few months as I knew it was happening and she was getting more and more strung out. She was like a total crackhead. It was like watching Intervention and I was like, mm-mm. But she didn't stop Lindsay. That one moment changed everything. She'll never know, but I know. And Lindsay may never know either, but I know. Maybe Lindsay would be satisfied. She didn't want us together and she got her way and she did win. But it was just, but she also has karma because she didn't understand what she was doing or who she was really messing with. And I'm not talking about the bitch you think you won, Lindsay. I'm talking about you were messing with the wrong person, and that was me. So energetically and spiritually, which you don't understand at all, just keep cutting out your box tops, girl. Just focus on what you can do. But that's what happened. Let me see this last thing because my phone's gonna die. Did she try to contact you after the slam, or did you go full no contact? She did. She did try to contact me after the slam, and she was like, I can't believe it. See, what I led her to believe is that it was something different. I did a full diversion tactic. I did not hold her accountable because I was in her house without a vehicle. I was in Alabama. I was black. She was white. She was playing the full Emmett Till card. I knew she was going to smear campaign me. I knew I was dealing with a covert narcissist and a sociopath. Her father had said so. Years before, her father was like, there's an interesting thing about, I almost said her name, my daughter, is that after a situation ends with a friend, she just disconnects and walks away. And I remember watching him, and I knew in that moment, I'm like, so you know you're raising a fucking sociopath? Anyway, that happened years before. I never connected the dots. I always was like, no, forget me not. Maybe I'm crazy. But she contacted me probably because Lindsay was treating her shitty. Because as we talked about, masculine energy loves to be treated like shit. Lindsay probably was ignoring her, probably wasn't interested because she was mopey, because she was depressed as fuck that I was gone. And she knew I was gone. She knew that this is different. I cannot no longer string Monette along. And she tried to reach out to me. She did. And she was like, I didn't get to say what I needed to say. And I'm sorry. And I miss you. And it feels like I'm mourning someone who died. You bet your fucking life, because you killed me daily, purposely, for years, when I would specifically try to connect and communicate. So yeah, I'm dead. I'm dead to you forever. You could never contact me or be around me again without me thinking that you were fucking an agent of destruction and death, and I will never come in contact with you again. So that, yeah, she did try to contact me, and she wanted to control it like any narcissist. She was like, don't answer back. I just wanted to say words because you got to say so many. And let me tell you something, Choc. When I was with her, I begged her to talk to me. Quite literally. I offered to make her a talking stick from Frankie and Grace. I asked her nicely. I sang songs. I talked to her in the van. I talked to her next to a man. I talked to her on a boat. I talked to her with a local. I talked to her with a blunt. I talked to her with a runt. I mean, there was nothing that I didn't try to get through to her for years, especially in that last week. And she shut me down every time, Jess, expeditious. And so I return the favor now, forever, in perpetuity, for eternity. Cry me a fucking river. And I don't feel any ways about it because I moved on happily. Lindsay truly was, my husband is coming. Lindsay truly was, one second, babe. Lindsay truly was a lifesaver for me, a saving grace. She actually got me out of a horrible situation. She let me see how quickly my best friend would turn on me because she wanted to be accepted. And I told her make it work, and I prayed that she did. I hope to this day they're still together. Actually, the person that actually cares about her does. I wanted her to have partnership. Everybody deserves that. She found her tribe, a malignant narcissist with mental illness who was horrible, abusive, loved money, was a scammer. Like, she found her tribe. I could talk shit about it, but I never wanted to leave Alabama. But it's the truth. She actually found somebody, and she did it before me. I would have never left her. I was going to be loyal by her side to the day I died, and then I would have missed out on the best friendship of my life. trying to be ride or died for someone who was like wrapping me in a Confederate flag and plotting my fucking death with this crazy bitch that watched too much Oxygen Channel, you know? What was the last thing you said? They can never handle their own medicine, can they? Kudos to your endurance. Oh, thank you, Choc. I want to just thank you for giving me a chance to vent again. You know, when you get out of a relationship and it ends and it's horrible, you don't realize, like, you don't realize that you felt the way you did. And even when I talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I still hate that bitch. I'm not to the healed fully part, you know? But I don't, you know, hate and love is very synonymous. So does that mean I still love that bitch? I don't know. I don't love her in any way where I'm gonna be around her. That's for sure. Because I don't trust her, because I think that she would like really actually try to kill me. She's a murderer. She's wished people dead and they've died before. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So I was like, no, I want no part of this. So yeah, they can't handle their own medicine. And I don't think that she could handle it. Not from me. Because I'm the only person who actually saw her fully. Go be with your hubby and have fun. Thank you, Choc. I'm going to. All right, he's going to be thankful for you. All right, guys, come back and join me next time, and we will continue to evolve together.